Hold on. Swagu, Kmart. The last time we had a coach fired during the season.
Oh, boy.
I lost Jeff Saturday immediately. Please tell me this is not happening again.
I have not seen him.
You have not seen him?
I have not seen him this morning.
Kmart, you're my insider. Have you got anything on this?
Wait, Greeny, hold on.
Yeah.
My sources are telling me that Jeff Saturday is here in the building behind those blue doors.
Oh, okay.
Oh, thank goodness.
He's here, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank goodness. Okay. Oh, I thought for a minute that might happen. Okay. All right, we're all well. Oh, that's it. Oh.
Let me just say this.
Yeah.
If I was there, Swagu, I need you.
I'm coming with you.
I need you people going together.
It's going to cost a lot of money. It'll cost a lot of money, Jeff, but I'll be there.
Hey, for both of us.
That one scared me to death. Okay. Look, I'm conditioned to think if a coach gets fired, I'm going to lose one of my best people. All right.
Jeff was bouncing like a gangster.
Thank goodness. Okay, Jeff, you are here. But all kidding aside, and it's far too late for that, you do know what this is like.
Yeah.
You've been in that position. You've walked into that building on the day after this kind of mayhem happens during a season. Tell everybody what's going on inside right now.
Yeah, listen, chaos. And I'll be honest. Listen, I like AP. He is going to have a weight on him like none other.
That's Antonio Pierce, to be clear, who's
been
the interim coach.
head coach. Yeah, I'm sorry. And so, you know, everybody has been put on notice, right? They're losing jobs. When a head coach gets fired, offensive staffs go, defensive staffs go. They understand what is at stake here. And the intensity and the pressure is just magnified. And so his job is going to go in and keep everybody together. Hey, what can we do as a head coach? What can I do to help you be the best coach to get this thing back on the right track? That's all he's trying to do is keep everybody in-house. Don't have any splintering, bring it all in. Now, he has an advantage of where he is than where I was because he knows the coaches in the building, right? He understands who he wants to put in what positions, how he can help his staff get back to where they need to get to. But make no mistake, man, the next 8, 9, 10 weeks, however long he's going to be there, not going to be any sleeping for Antonio Pierce.
Here's what I want to ask. Antonio Pierce is one thing. I think most people are wondering how Davante Adams is feeling as he wakes up this morning. He's made it pretty clear the last few weeks he didn't want to be there. No. They didn't trade him. The quotes coming out of there were, no way in hell we're going to trade him. Yeah. And then the day of the trade deadline, they fire his coach.
It is one of those situations where the grass ain't greener. But here's the thing too. Like, let's have context around this story. The unknowns in Green Bay is the reason Davante, a big reason why Davante left. I hate hearing people talk about, well, he left Aaron Rodgers. He didn't know if Aaron Rodgers was coming back. Right? So I got to make a decision based on what I'm going to do. The second thing is this. When you get to Vegas, one, you're there with Derek Carr, a guy that just signed an extension. You think at least you'll have him for 3 years into that contract, right? So he goes. And now Josh McDaniels goes. But I'm going to be honest with y'all. I don't think he's too mad about that. I just don't think he's too mad about that. Like, look. I've been on Monday night with Vegas twice. We've been to Countdown. We went to Vegas and we were just with them in Detroit. First of all, the level of respect that these coaches and players have for Antonio Pierce, it's up there now. Yeah. It's a high level. They respect him for what he did as a player. They respect him for what type of coach he is. And to a man, the player, truth. AP always give us the truth. He's always honest. The second thing is this, man. When you think about this job in Vegas, it's been turmoil now.
Absolutely.
It has been a ship that's been rocky for a while. Yeah. And they thought they had it sorted with John Gruden, and obviously that situation took place. Mark Davis probably has the most important hire of his tenure as an owner with the Las Vegas Raiders. There needs to be a lot of time and thought and a lot of weight put into whoever this next guy is.
That might be why we do it now, right? So you have Antonio Pierce as a stopgap right now. You take your time to really survey the landscape. Yeah. Because what they haven't been able to do in Vegas is actually get it right. You mentioned John Gruden and obviously Josh McDaniels. Going back to Davante, he went over there for stability. You mentioned Derek Carr, thinking this is a situation where I know who the quarterback is, this is good. Now, you almost feel like, I've never played, but I would think everybody is looking around like, all right, we got 8, 9 weeks. Yep. I'm in it for me. Yeah. You know, what can I get out of the situation and how do 100%. I leave? Now, whoever the new front office is, I don't know if Champ Kelly, who's their interim GM, and Antonio Pierce will be the answers long term, but you wonder if next offseason, does this rebuild allow Davante Adams to break free?
Yeah.
And that's the question. If I'm Davante Adams, I want to go elsewhere because what you signed up for is not in Vegas anymore.
If you're the owner, you're not letting. Yeah, you ain't
no
letting
way in hell is Schefter reported. Right.
Let me say this about the Josh McDaniels situation as well, because they've had 12 coaches, I think, in 15 years.
Yeah.
Like it's ridiculous, right? And everybody thinks that, when a coach gets fired, hey, new whatever, right? But obviously this does not work for the Raiders. The issue for Josh McDaniels was that as he comes in, you look at Dan Campbell was, I think, 0-14-1 in his first 15 games, right? Yep. And the Lions ownership was sticking with him. Everybody made fun of him. Media mocked him. Yeah. He's an ankle biter, right? Knee biter, whatever it is, right? They're all he's got. But let me tell you something. He had an identity that he was going to put this team on a course, and this was what was going to go. The issue I saw for Josh McDaniels, and whether you think it's fair or unfair, was the identity wasn't there. You didn't really know what you were going to get. You thought it was going to be Derek Carr and Davante Adams, Josh Jacobs, right? There's going to be this, and then the defense was going to hold their side. But the problem was they never got on track with that. So did I think they were going to be a great team this year? I did not think that. But the issue for him was the identity didn't form quickly enough. That's why Mark Davis moved on.
Listen,
but you don't know if you're right or wrong.
There's a few things that just need to be said here before we move on. The first is that there's a lesson to be taken from this. Never go to the Raiders if you're looking for stability. That's a terrible idea. Mark Davis has turned the Raiders into a laughingstock and a circus. And when they finally accidentally got it right a couple of years ago with Rich Bisaccia, who dragged them through that terrible situation with Gruden and Henry Ruggs and everything else that happened. He took them to the playoffs. Derek Carr loved him. Players loved him. Mark Davis couldn't get rid of him fast enough and bring in Josh McDaniels, who everyone in the world could see wasn't going to work with Derek Carr. So the lesson to be taken from all this is some organizations just can't get it right because the person who cannot be replaced doesn't know what they're doing.
And G, you are absolutely right. But here's the thing, man. Like at some point, we have to believe that these lessons over time, especially in a situation where now you're paying two coaches that don't coach for you, somebody hopefully intervenes and says, Mark, hold on, take a beat. One of these rich billionaire friends he got, Tom Brady, part owner, somebody steps in and be like, look, man, let's take our time, evaluate this landscape, and figure out what we're going to do. I think the Las Vegas Raiders, the most important thing is what Jeff said. They have to find a coach that's going to bring an identity. And then to your point, stick with them, even through some hardship.
Ride it out.
And here's the thing with Josh McDaniels, man. Like, since we calling people out, there was no relatability in this locker room. I know a lot of players in the NFL. I don't ever bring it up when I'm on shows. When I'm with you, do I tell you how many dudes I talk to? I know a lot of them. I talk to a lot of them in these locker rooms. I'm telling you right now, it was a tone-deaf sentiment in the Las Vegas Raiders organization when it came to what their head coach was saying. You are not Bill Belichick, bro. And that's what happens to all of his assistants. You can't. This is a different generation of players. It's a different league. These guys expect more earlier in their careers. All of this stuff about, well, we're gonna do it this way and we're not gonna make any changes and I'm not gonna conform. I'm not gonna change the way I do things. Okay. All right, good luck to you. Good luck to you. You gotta, Jeff, you've been in this situation. You gotta have some standards and some foundations in football. That's a given. But when it comes to relatability with players, it's probably the most important thing when it comes to a head coaching job.
And the problem for what happens with guys like Josh McDaniels and everybody who's had Hall of Fame, Tom Brady, right? Like being with Tom Brady, the leadership he provided, it covers all kinds of coaching ails, right? But the issue is when you get there, they would morph. Like the New England Patriots would morph offensively and defensively. If it needed to be a run game, it's going to be a run game. Passing, but because Tom Brady could do that. Not every quarterback can do that, y'all. Like Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo, like whatever it is. I know of three, right? Like, and now you add Mahomes to it, but he can do whatever. But most can't do it that way. You have to have a plan in place. This is what we're going to go do. And you saw again. I go back to Dan Campbell. Everybody thought, oh, Stafford leaves. There's no way Goff can do this. Guess what, man? He rode with Goff. He built the team around him, and now they are excelling. But it took time, and that's what's going to happen with the Raiders. Give them time. Whoever the next guy is.
Well, and one of the things that people are going to do, and we're going to start connecting dots here, and to be clear, I'm going to have Heather and Paul on a little later. I don't know anything about anything. But people are going to look at the situation that's going on in Michigan, where the NCAA is going after Jim Harbaugh, and someone in sunglasses on the opposing team's sideline. I don't know what the hell is happening in all of that.
It's a mess.
But someone's going to look at that, and they're going to say Jim Harbaugh to Vegas makes a lot of sense.
I understand the sentiment. But if you're in that locker room, I know I would think if I see Jim Harbaugh coming through the door, it's like, oh, he just is seeking refuge in the NFL because of all this stuff that's happening. Yes, he has had success in the NFL before, but as we've said, the NFL changes, the players change, the game changes, and you have to adapt with it. I would love to see the Raiders expand their search a little bit wider.
You know what I've been thinking if Jim Harbaugh walks in the door of that team? I'm thinking, oh, he's the best quarterback we have. even now. I mean, I hate to say it. Someone's got to say it. It needs to be
a lot
said.
of problems. First of all, you let the better quarterback walk out of the door. That's number one. That was the first issue.
You didn't let him walk out the door. You threw him out.
You kicked him out the door. We sitting at the Pro Bowl, and I'm looking at this roster. I'm talking to DC at the Pro Bowl. Interviewed him. He didn't want to really get into it because he still was having respect for the organization. But I had an off-line conversation with him, and this was, who the hell they gonna get? That's better than me. Now, ain't no quarterback gonna come on TV and say that, right? But when you go from Derek Carr to Jimmy Garoppolo, and let's not forget what you said about Bisaccia. Derek Carr led them through a lot of that too. He was the unquestioned leader in that locker room. Had a lot to do with why a lot of guys wanted to be there and play there. So it's been a
Davante
big
Adams being one.
Exactly, right?
Being one.
I got to go to a break. I have so many things I need to. I had to do that because that team, there's so much history, so much pride in that organization. To see it taken to this point is sad.